Blog Talk Radio. Well, I almost said that it was Wednesday. I don't know why, because I feel like I am in a time warp of sorts, so please forgive me. To those of you who follow my show regularly, you realize that I have not been on there for, 2.5, almost 3 months, and shame on me. It has been a crazy, tumultuous, creative, chaotic, lovely sort of last few months. To those of you that may not have heard, of course, I started filming my television series, Sunny and Trixie, about 6 weeks ago or so, and I am happy to report that as of this week, we are finally down to the very last bit of scenes. I could not be more thrilled with finishing, to be honest with you. So a couple quick announcements here before we get going and talking all about Sober St. Patrick's Day. First of all, I want to remind everyone that my main film festival, Art is Alive, is still accepting submissions for the next few months. Reminder, it is shorts and features up to 90 minutes. We take web and television pilots and episodes. I also accept newsreels this year, youth films, and of course, obviously, we've dropped the music videos, but of course, we're still keeping the screenplays up to 110 pages. If you go over to Film Freeway, type in Art is Alive Film Festival, or visit my Facebook page, you'll be able to submit, and of course, those submissions run all the way through until the end of May. So do go ahead, pass the word along, if you will. It looks like we've got some phenomenal films coming this year. As far as my other sister one, which is Bedford Falls Film Festival, we have decided to do this the weekend of April 18th, and that will be located in Wisconsin. We're trying to decide right now, but the consensus looks like it will be Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, which would be a live event, and that's a day and a half of not only shorts and feature films, all in black and white. We're also offering one industry workshop as well as live actual small business vendors this year, which I'm incredibly thrilled about, just because of the fact that most of us, as we all know, have had such a hard time this year with everything going on. Anything that I can do to promote artists and, of course, small business owners, filmmakers, actors, you name it, I'm all for doing that. So please go ahead and watch for the Bedford Falls Film Festival invite. Also go to our page, or otherwise just Google Bedford Falls Film Festival. I also want to remind my publicist friends and anyone listening in, as far as the magazine, Art is Alive, the next issue is coming out in April. I say that because the First Amendment Advocate, which is my newsletter, is coming out at the end of March. I wish I could tell you specifically what date, but check with me in 2 days when I'm actually breathing again and I'm not so busy. So yes, Art is Alive magazine will be coming out the last week of April. Do go ahead and check that out. We're also going to be offering a Mother's Day product gift guide this year. So I'm super excited because we're starting to do more product guides. Totally love advocating for all these products. So super excited. Last but not least, of course, we are on Sin's Chat Corner. As you all know, this is today one of a total of 9 interviews that I'm able to squeeze in this month. I'm just so very grateful. I have to say it one more time. I know so many of you have been so anxious for me to come back on air, which I appreciate. I'm also glad I found the time to do it. Thank God. Thank you so much to Bridget and, of course, all of your, all of the clients out there that are still waiting on me. And I'm behind schedule, obviously, in terms of my radio show. So I appreciate your patience. To the listening audience, I can't thank you enough for coming back again and again and again and letting me do what I love. It's just absolutely a labor of love for me. So you don't want to listen to me anymore. So without further ado, let's get talking about Sober St. Patrick's Day. So let's get our guests on the line. Just 1 second. Hello.
Hi, it's Bill Reilly.
Oh, Bill, thank you so much for holding. I appreciate this. We also have, we're being joined by someone else today, correct?
No, I think it's just me.
Oh, okay. I've got somebody else on hold, as a matter of fact, here. So I guess if it's just you and I, let's get going on this. First of all, again, thank you so much for your patience and waiting for me to go ahead and do this interview. I appreciate it. It's been a rough couple of weeks, in case you haven't heard. It's been busy with production. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on. I have lots of questions for you about Sober St. Patrick's Day. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about your backstory. I find it rather fascinating, oftentimes, when people take personal experience and turn it into something so absolutely lovely on so many levels, which you've done with this. Tell the folks a bit about what the muse behind this entire event was, and tell me how it's helped to shape you more so as a person and as a professional.
So the way this whole thing started, is that what you want to know?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so it's an amazing story. So 10 years ago tomorrow, I was standing outside of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City on St. Patrick's Day watching the parade go by. I don't know if you've ever been to New York for the parade, but it's a real zoo in terms of what goes on afterwards. in any event, so I was feeling really proud and feeling just great watching all these super marching bands going by. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this kid. He was about 22 years old, and he was holding a can of beer in his hand. And I got to tell you, Cindy, he was as drunk as a skunk. It was about 12:30 in the afternoon, and he was with a bunch of his friends who were equally wasted. And he was wearing a T-shirt, I noticed, and the T-shirt said at the top, "St. Patrick's Day today, hungover tomorrow." So I didn't pass judgment. I just went up to him and I said, "Hey, that's a pretty wild T-shirt. Where'd you get that, man?" And he said, "Oh, I got it in the mall in New Jersey where I live. They sell 1 million of them. Isn't it cool?" And I got to tell you, right then and there, a light bulb went on. And I said, wow, what if next year in 2012 we held a rip-roaring party with world-class entertainment, great music and dancers and singers and storytellers, but no alcohol? Because in New York, there's really no place to go after the parade that's safe because the bars are insane. Certainly no place for moms and dads with kids. And obviously anybody in recovery runs for the hills that day. So it was an idea that I had because I felt that there was nothing else like it in New York. And then I tell you, the Red Sea parted when I decided to go to work to do it the following year. It's an amazing story I always put together. People thought I was out of my mind. Anyway, as it turned out, we sold out in advance, turned people away, and ever since it's been extraordinary, and other cities have begun to do it too.
Well, and I know one of the things that a lot of us talk about in terms of not just St. Patrick's Day, but lately, and especially more so after the last year, addiction is becoming more and more of a bigger issue, of course. So we all know that one of the reasons, for you doing this event is, of course, give another alternative means to do something else on St. Patrick's Day. I know that obviously I'm curious to ask you, in your experience this last year, have you been noticing that people are gravitating more and more to doing more sober events, or are you feeling like it's really becoming a challenge to curtail them away, due to current circumstances?
Yeah, well, no, there's no question that this last year there's been an uptick in addiction on all levels. And, for all the obvious reasons of isolation and all that. But I must tell you that people are just flocking to us for this because we're also trying to not just the whole purpose of this is to reclaim the true spirit of the day and to focus on our culture and who St. Patrick was. And so many people have come to us because we want to reclaim, when the Irish clink glasses on St. Patrick's Day, they say shlanta. And just the way in Israel they would say l'chaim, right? Well, shlanta actually means health. And so we want to reclaim shlanta. So we're even doing a great meal this year with the best chef in Ireland, a thing called St. Patrick's Plate with a terrific new addition to it. And also we're going to do a 5K run in Central Park, again, to promote health, because that's what shlanta is supposed to mean. So many people have come to us and said, I've been dying for something like this. Not only can I enjoy the day and really feel proud of my Irish heritage and get great entertainment, but also, do it in a healthy, sane way.
Oh, absolutely. You betcha. And I like the idea of changing the perspective there, because I think what most people, are synonymous with, let's go to the bar, let's start drinking early, having Irish food, etc. But there is so much more to it, of course. You've also taken it and made it into a global virtual celebration, which I find is so unique. You're not keeping it to just the New York City area, but you're going from one continent to the other here. It's all different places, of course, including parties in like Virginia, Long Island, Rhode Island, Connecticut, etc. Why is it important for you? I mean, outside of Ireland, of course, do you envision yourself taking it to India, Asia, places like this, and really making it an international event?
Well, that is precisely the goal, and we've begun to do that. And the idea this year for the virtual event is because obviously none of our other cities can do the party, and New York City has always been the mothership of this whole movement. We're merging them all into this one virtual event that's tomorrow, that's going out as a YouTube premiere. It's for an hour and a half. It begins at 4 o'clock New York time, so 3 o'clock Central. And we're merging all of the parties there, and it's going to be a look back over 10 years, so we have footage of previous parties, but also the talent that normally plays at our party is playing again, but doing it virtually. We pre-taped a lot of the dancers and the singers and all of the musicians. I mean, we've got, John Whalen's a 7-time All-Ireland champion button accordion player, and Brian Conway's a 5-time All-Ireland champion fiddle player, and the Donnie Golden Dancers are the best step dancers in New York, and so they'll be with us again. So it's kind of it'll be a virtual event where you'll see all this entertainment. And in addition to that, we're going to look back at some of the parties where you'll be able to see them having performed, in the first year and the second year and the third year. So it'll be a nice amalgamation of the whole 10 years rolled into one. And the important thing for, I think, people to understand, we're not against people having a drink on the day. We're just against people having 7 or 8 drinks on the day and turning, it into a freak show and, sending the wrong message, particularly to young people. Because I must tell you that St. Patrick's Day today, now, in the last 3 or 4 years, has become the number one day of the year, i.e. the worst day of the year, for the introduction of binge drinking among high school and college kids. So that's something we really got to fight. And, as you say, with COVID, there's no question there's been an uptick in people going into treatment. To answer your question about going global, the whole idea of tomorrow's YouTube broadcast is that we do have people signed up who are going to be watching from Australia and from other countries besides, obviously, Ireland. And that is precisely the hope. We share with people on how they can do their own party next year. There are guidelines on our website, and we'll even show people how to do it. But that's precisely the goal, that next year we would go to more cities around the world.
Oh, absolutely lovely. That is. I want to talk a bit about, because I noticed in my research that your executive director, you had her come on in 2020, which is, of course, Tammy Ellen McLaughlin. I'm curious to ask what made you bring her onto the team, and, of course, what did she bring to the table that adds to this event overall?
Oh, boy. Well, that's such a great question. Tammy is such a find. I've known Tammy for a few years. She came to our event about 3 years ago, and she was there as a representative of the Irish Arts Center in New York, because they do a program called Get Lit. I kid you not, which we love, but it's literature, and what they do is they give out 10,000 books on the streets of New York on St. Patrick's Day. So she came to our party, and I took a real liking to her. And she came every year since. And then about a year ago, I approached her and I said, look, I really, really want somebody younger, somebody like you who's well connected in the New York City Irish community. And I approached her about coming on as our executive director. She jumped at it. And what she brings to the table is Tammy's unique gifts. I mean, Tammy is the kind of person that loves to network and connect people. And just in the last 2 months, what we've done with growing, this year's celebration with all sorts of new people that I didn't know, but also, I'm 70 years old, and I've done this for 10 years, and I want young blood and somebody new to take this over. And I'll always be there as the chairman, but it's time for the next generation to take this and really run with it. And she's on fire about it.
Of course.
And then through Tammy, we got Samantha Kelly in Ireland, who's the tweeting goddess in Ireland, and she's on fire about this. So between Tammy getting Sam, there's a whole new generation here that wants to run with this, and they're on fire about it. So that's lucky me.
Oh, absolutely, you betcha. And of course, we're looking at it, as mentioned, a 10-year anniversary. I want to ask you, for you personally, in being involved with this from day one, of course, what's different about this event today? What's the one singular what's your biggest strength today in 2021 in having this event versus the first year when you first started?
I think there's more of a consciousness about being healthy. I think there's much more, there are new movements and new bars that are actually opening around the world that are actually sober bars. But, the beauty of this idea from day one, and even more so now, is that it's a wonderful mix of people in recovery who come to the party, but there are more people who are just regular folks, so to speak, who just don't want to be hijacked by the insanity, that are looking for a safe, healthy thing to do. So I just think there's more of an awareness about health and people staying in good shape. And as a result, I think we're even more and more timely, and particularly with COVID, people are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that, people are dying to start celebrating. And I think tomorrow, people will get a taste of what this is like. But of course, it's, hopefully going to light the fire for them to want to come to New York next year to the real party, or better yet, want to do their own in their own town or city. And as I said, we'll show you how to do it. Our name is trademarked. We want to protect it. We don't want anybody exploiting it or, trying to make money off of it or whatever. And so permission to use it is required, but, it's very user-friendly. And as I say, I'm a big believer in starting small. So, for instance, Casper, Wyoming, the first year they did it for just 75 people in a great hall. And it was whereas, Belfast does it at the end of their parade for 5,000 people. And in New York, we have about 500. So the beauty of the idea is it can be done big or small. And
nice.
We can also
very, very nice.
find musicians around the country because through John Whalen, who's our music director, Cultus is the Irish, music organization, and we're able to locate really good musicians all over the country. So for people who might want to do it. So anyway, we're I think a real resource for people who might like to try it next year.
I gotcha. Now, keeping on that same caveat, when you're talking about having more parties, more places, etc., it's possible for somebody listening in that they can actually become an ambassador, so to speak. So I do want to talk about that a bit. If somebody's hearing you today and they're like, I love this idea and I live in such and such place and they want to be an ambassador, how simplistic is that for them to get started on doing something like this?
Yeah, it's real simple. On our website is soberstpatricksday.org. And Saint is just ST with no dot. So it's sober, ST, patricksday.org. And you'll see the homepage as soon as you log on. And then there's a page that says Sister Cities. These are the other cities that are doing it. And you just press on Sister Cities. And right there, it mentions a few of the other cities doing it. But right at the top of that page, there's a little button to click where the guidelines are there. And they're self-explanatory. It's just a 2-page, 3-page document that anybody can download and read. And it's designed for 2022 because obviously to do a new party, you can't do it tomorrow and,
sure.
but to next year. So it's really right on the Sister Cities page is the link right at the top.
Very nice. Now, I'm going to presume, and this is just an educated guess, this is for 18 and over. And I say that just because, like you were mentioning, high school and college, etc. Oh, okay.
No.
So you can do high school.
No, absolutely not. No. In fact, a lot of our party is designed for parents to bring their children. And the beauty of Irish traditional music is that it's intergenerational. So if you look at the video, actually, what people could do is there's a great little 5-minute video that gives you a real feel for what the New York party is like. And it's also on our website. And it's on the bottom of the page. If you click onto our website, and at the top of the bar, it's a page called Talent NYC Party. So it's the New York City talent page, and it lists all the performers and dancers that are appearing tomorrow. But at the bottom of it is a 5-minute video, and that really will give people a sense. And you can see how, it's very family-friendly. And the beauty of, trad music is that it's innately intergenerational. So kids 90 and can, kick out the jams with people 90 years old. And so the party is designed to be for people of all ages. So it's a real, family kind of centric thing.
That's absolutely awesome. I just wanted to clarify that in case somebody's listening in, they want to participate, of course, as far as that goes. Now, let's switch on the sponsor side of things. I was taking a look at the various different sponsors you have listed. So again, another question I'm curious to ask, and this is the PR mind and myself talking. Is it wrong for me to assume that at some point over these last 10 years, you've been approached about collaborating with people? Let's say I'm covering a virgin gin right now, which I have in my house, or if people do non-alcoholic brands, do they partner with you? You know what I'm saying?
Alcohol companies?
As in non-alcoholic, meaning like I have a virgin gin that I'm covering in my magazine.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought you meant, because the truth is Guinness and Budweiser, they would throw money at us, but we would never accept it. And it's not because, we're snobs or anything. It's just that whole drink responsibly thing is a big lie. So one of our sponsors is Pepsi, but we'd love to find more sponsors like a yogurt company, anything healthy. Another soft drink is possible, a tea company.
Okay.
But absolutely, we would love to find another, likely healthy food or drink.
That sounds wonderful. Absolutely. Okay. Now, I know, of course, that a lot of what you're funded by, of course, comes from the St. Patrick's Day Foundation. So I didn't want to forget for us to do a bit of a chat about this. For those that are not familiar with the St. Patrick's Day Foundation, can you talk a bit about your partnership with them, of course? Want to help them. Of course, I'll be mentioning the website as well. But How have they been instrumental in continuing to allow you to grow and get bigger and have more of an impact?
Well, I'm not sure you have that right. I mean, we are called, we're a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, and our full name is the Sober St. Patrick's Day Foundation, Inc. The St. Patrick Foundation is a different organization. They're the people that do a great job at organizing the parade in New York City. In fact, what's going to be announced tomorrow, I'm not allowed to say this, but and that is St. Patrick's Foundation, which are the people that run the parade. The head of it is on our broadcast, and he makes an announcement that's going to affect us in 2022, which is just great news for us. So we they don't give us any money or anything like that. They're just the people in New York who run the parade. So we obviously have a relationship, but it's not a fiscal one or a financial one in any way.
No, that is my fault. That was my error, actually, when I was on your website. Gosh.
No problem. We have to raise the money ourselves as a not-for-profit. We have a board of directors, actually we're looking to bring on another one or two board members. But yes, we have to raise all the money ourselves. So we're more than happy to hear from people who want to help us.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I was just going to say, number one, of course, obviously people can donate. Number two, of course, people can sponsor. If somebody, do you take your? I did look and see that a majority of your board members are from New York City. Are you you looking for board members keeping it in the city, or are you branching outward? No,
we definitely want several new board members this year, at least two that are not from New York, for the obvious reason. Because this thing, I'm a New Yorker, born and bred. I gave birth to this in New York. Some of the people I've asked. Now, not everybody on the board is from New York. I mean, Sis Gallagher-Wenger, who is, she's from Washington, originally from Michigan. Others are from upstate New York, but we're pretty much New York-centric. That is correct, and we'd love to get people elsewhere in the States.
And because, of course, you're born and bred in New York, I have to ask the obvious, which is what I've been doing with most of my guests. Because you're a native New Yorker, you're best to talk to us, meaning outsiders, looking in. At this point today, how is New York managing? How are you managing? Can we continue to have hope that the city's going to come back full force?
Well, I'm a little nervous about New York. There's an uptick about the variant in New York. In fact, it's a little higher in New York than any place else. And so the jury's out. I must say that New York has done a remarkable job from the get-go. Because as you remember back in March and April, I mean, we were ground zero, and it was heroic what New York did. So I'm feeling, very confident because of the great job we did then. And it's not that we're not continuing to do it. It's just that in the last couple of days, there's been this mention about the variant. But I'm very optimistic that, probably by May, things are going to be much, much better in New York, with the hope being that, the president is right and that by July 4th, we should be pretty good. But, who am I to predict with this crazy variant? But I am pretty optimistic because New York's been really thorough and been very aggressive about fighting this. It's been great to watch people come together. It's a lot like 9/11 I was there on 9/11. I was covered in that white dust. I was blocked from the there. So I know what it's like when New Yorkers come together. It's been great in the last year.
You bet. And of course, I know that you are a TV and theater producer. So on that side of the fence, let me again ask you the same question. A lot of us involved in entertainment are, of course, very concerned about independent film, theater, places opening, productions going on. Are you still involved in that arena? And if so, how are you looking at things in that perspective?
Yeah, actually, I am. I'm even though I'm semi-retired. I've been developing this new idea for a television series, and I'm really excited about it. It's a new dramatic series that I can't really talk about but we're very close to hopefully doing a deal, and Martin Sheen is very keen on playing one of the lead roles in it. So that's about all I can say. So I obviously have my hand in that world. That's where I've always been. So I'm semi-retired, but happy and busy with that and Sober St. Patrick's Day.
Very, very nice. Very nice to hear. We want to talk, of course, to those listening in. Every year, you award someone an Emerald Spirit Award, which is, of course, anyone who helps to improve the lives of both addicts as well as help and improve the lives and help with addiction issues in general. Now, please talk to us a bit about what made you choose this year's recipient.
Well, it's actually it's a little more refined than what you just described. It's for professionals who work specifically with family members of alcoholics and addicts. In other words, people who are not necessarily addicted themselves, but might have a husband or a wife or a child or an uncle or whatever. That's a whole huge side of addiction that most people don't know anything about. For instance, it's why Al-Anon was created. But so the person we award is a professional that's working specifically with children. I mean, the devastation that an alcoholic parent can make on a young child is frightening. And so the award was first given at our first party to the woman named Sis Gallagher Wenger, who is the president and CEO of the National Association for Children of Addiction. And ever since the first year in 2012, we've given it to a different professional each year. The second year it went to Jerry Moe, who runs the children's program at Betty Ford, Hazelden, Frances Black, who's big in Ireland. She runs the Rise Foundation. She's a famous singer and also an Irish senator now. So Ellen was chosen this year for one simple reason. She is probably the best person in the New York metropolitan area working in this world with high school counselors. Because as I said, St. Patrick's Day has become the worst day of the year for the introduction of binge drinking among high school and college kids. And so Ellen also was one of the founders with Sis Wenger of the National Association for Children of Addiction. So anyway, she's our winner, and she's a dynamo and somebody who, we felt strongly there's a lot of awards given for people that help people in they're alcoholic or addicts. But we think this is the only major award that's given for people that work on the family side, because most people don't appreciate how the family is devastated by it. I give you a quick example. Somebody who's alcoholic, who's in denial, who's driving their family absolutely out of their mind, and because they're in denial, as most people are making their family life totally insane. And so these professionals that are the people that help those people deal with that insanity. Whether that's getting them into Al-Anon, whether that's just counseling, but also in particular young children. This is like serious major trauma that's lifelong if it's not treated. So that's what the award is about, and Ellen is this year's recipient.
Oh, how lovely is that? Well, and it's lovely that you take the time out to recognize someone in the community who's doing so many selfless things for other people. I don't think people in the realm of addiction as a whole get enough recognition, or there's enough done to be able to say, hey, we appreciate your efforts. It's never ending. It's literally 24/7, of course, and you're kind of married to that. I took a look at the lineup here in terms of, first I want to ask, when we talk about the entertainment side of things, if a person had the luxury tomorrow, instead of doing this virtual celebration, how does it vary in terms of how do you structure the entertainment? As you mentioned, some of this is, or is it all pre-recorded? What's the biggest difference or challenge, I should say, between the two?
Well, if anybody wants to watch, you just need to come to our website at 4 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, so 3 o'clock Central. And right on our website, promptly at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, the show will begin. If you want to register and get a link, you're going to need to do that before the end of the day today, and that's really easy. You just go to our homepage at soberstpatricksday.org, and right on the top of the homepage, you just put your name and your email address, and then you'll be registered and you'll get the direct link tomorrow. But if people forget to do that, you could just go to the site tomorrow at 4 Eastern to watch it. So yes, and the entertainment is pre-recorded. It's an hour and a half long, and then we have this really terrific piece at the end, which is this gourmet meal that Terry McCoy, the chef, is going to cook, and you can actually do it along with him. And then a sneak peek at a brand new show from Ireland called the St. Patrick's Show at the world premiere of it, and that'll go on right after the cooking thing. So our piece is from 4 to 5:30. The cooking is from about 5:30 to 5:45, and then about a half an hour of this new show, the St. Patrick's Show, immediately following from 5:45 to 6:15. But as I say, it's good to register today. if people want to get the.
Oh, you betcha. And the lineup here, I mean, listen to that. I saw that you have fiddle, guitar, accordion, flute, whistle, keyboard, mandolin. You've got a piper. You've got singers, dancers, an author, an actor, the drums. I mean, you basically have covered every single possible thing because we all know, of course, that the Irish food and language and literature is so very important. The only thing that I thought about was there's nothing for the sporting side of things because I had read that Irish culture is very, the sports side of things is one thing. And would you incorporate that at some given point in time? Because some people tell me that sporting part of things is Irish is important.
Yeah, well, no, it's huge. And as a matter of fact, it's funny you say that because, Gaelic football and hurling, I mean, they're huge. And next year we actually hope in New York to be reaching out to the GAA about sponsoring us because, again, the healthy part is really where we're trying to, reclaim Shlanta, and we're going to push the whole health part of this as well. So hopefully next year we would be able to do that.
Oh, I've gotcha. Would you entertain the idea of doing these sort of parties on a monthly basis instead of doing it just for St. Patrick's Day?
Well, that is the long-range goal. It's interesting you say that. Not monthly yet, but maybe a bit more frequently than once a year because internally we use the acronym SSPD for actually Sober St. Patrick's Day. It's shorthand. And, my hope is that within in a year or two, for other major holidays, that we do SSPD, which would stand for Super Sober Party Destination. And that might be like for the Super Bowl, it might be for New Year's Eve, it might be for Halloween. And then also Super Sober Party Dance. I love to dance, and dancing is a great form of fun and also health.
Sure.
So down the road, that is part of the long-range plan. But, we need to raise more money to do that. We need to bring on more people. But hopefully that's where we would go. But, that just is a matter of time and money and interest.
Oh, I imagine so, definitely. And, of course, I'm curious to ask you, because I run businesses myself, from day one, let's say in a calendar year, how are you working on this 24/7? Are you working on this, constantly every month at some point? How long would you say from start to finish does it take to put something like this together?
Well, it's about a half a year. In other words, in fact, this year we're going to do our first halfway to St. Patrick's Day, I should say halfway to Sober St. Patrick's Day on September 18th. So around then we really begin to kick in. In the months before that, it's not that much during April, and May, but in the summer. But this year in Central Park, we're going to do the first 5K Sober St. Patrick's Day run that Jim Frawley on our board is going to be chairing. And that's when we really begin to kick in, and that's when we begin to get the lineup of the entertainment. But because it'll be our first, event after this year's presentation tomorrow, it'll allow a lot more people to become aware of who we are. And we want to make that 5K virtual as well next year. So people in Milwaukee and whatever could do their own, whether they're running virtually or even walking. And that is the plan, to get other cities that hopefully will come on in America or even in Ireland between March 18th of this year and September 18th when we do the walk, to also do their walk simultaneously while we're doing it in New York City. So to answer your question is that, once we get halfway there, we really begin to kick in. And then, of course, we're in overdrive beginning in January through March 17th.
Ah, of course. And as you mentioned, September 18th. For the 5K run and walk, is it kind of the same thing where they have to register ahead of time, or can you show up?
Yeah.
Or how exactly do you operate that?
Yeah, well, actually, we just put that up since we're announcing it tomorrow. But right now on our website, you go to our website. Also on the homepage at the top, the bar, there's a bar that says 5K run/walk. And right there already you can log on and just register already. And we just ask for your name and your email and your mailing address, because we're also giving away a little memento for the first 100 people that log on to take part in the 5K run. It's this really cool Sober St. Patrick's Day mask that we got. But that's active right now, so anyone could actually register right away.
Well, that's awesome. And, of course, clearly tomorrow you being the founder, I'm guessing you're excited about everything. But if there was one thing off the top of your head you could think of, meaning why should people tune into this tomorrow besides the obvious, which is everything you're doing is wonderful. But in your own mind, if I was an average random stranger, which I was, why convince me to tune into this? Why is it important that I attend?
Okay. The best answer I can give to you to that is Brian Conway, who's one of our musicians, who's a 5-time All-Ireland fiddle champion, says, I love doing this gig. I've done it every year for the last 10 years because before, when I would play in the bars and pubs, no one was listening to us.
Oh, my gosh.
So the answer is really, if you really want good entertainment and be able to hear it and see it, come to our party in New York, or obviously tomorrow, come to the virtual party. So I think that's the best answer because, we've been hailed in the press as the best entertainment in New York on St. Patrick's Day. So that's the answer, I guess.
That's a wonderful answer, as a matter of fact. Well, and you're doing so much to help people. Just the idea of the fact that you're trying to literally remind everybody St. Patrick's Day doesn't have to stand for just beverages out at the pub with somebody. It doesn't have to mean stumbling home. It doesn't have to mean a hangover. Yeah. It can actually be reminding you of the obvious. And there's so many beautiful things about Ireland and Irish people and the culture that they're missing out, absolutely, without a doubt. So I guess my question to you is, obviously I'm going to tell everybody how to find you, but if somebody's interested about this hush-hush project you can't talk about in television, how do they find you? How do we get wind of what you've got up to down the pike?
Oh, you're really pushing my buttons here. No, I'm happy to. My email is bill@soberstpatricksday.org. And so you could send me an email. And again, I don't know if this project's going to get greenlit. It's not greenlit yet, but in any event, I'm excited about it. So that's my email, if anybody wants to write me.
I'll listen to that. He gave us the golden email. Now you guys know where to find one of the best in town, that's for sure. We've been talking, of course, about Sober St. Patrick's Day, which is what the celebration is tomorrow. As we've mentioned, it's 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. in Ireland, completely free. Of course, you have to go to their website. Go ahead and get registered today. And that's as of midnight tonight, or is there a cutoff today? Just so I know.
It'll be about 9 o'clock tonight, New York time. So you should do it soon.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because you're running out of time.
But
there,
if you don't register, if people don't register, they could just go to the website tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern and watch it right on the site. But it's better to register.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely, because I was going to register myself. My hope is I'll be back in time.
Good.
I have another interview to cover tomorrow, so we'll cross our fingers and we'll see, of course. To remind everybody, the website is soberstpatricksday.org. They are also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and on YouTube, of course. And before I forget, Bill, I don't want to forget to mention to you, please do come back when the television thing gets going, because I interview actors and filmmakers and TV people. I'll be very mad if you don't come back and visit me and do this.
Well, listen,
and of course,
I'd be happy to. Keep your fingers crossed if it gets greenlit. So if it does,
absolutely.
I would love to come back.
It would be a complete honor, certainly. And congratulations, and thank you for all of the work that you're doing. I mean, I think I speak for a number of us. It's a very, very valuable thing you're doing, and I appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but luck for tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Well, that's nice, Cindy. And people can follow us in social at #SoberStPatricksDay.
Yes, absolutely. All right, young man, I'll let you go and get moving because I know you've got a big day tomorrow. But thank you for coming onto the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Cindy. You bet.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, to remind everybody, that was William Spencer Reilly, who, of course, is the founder. And, again, the name of the event is Sober St. Patrick's Day. Again, get registered, as you mentioned, by 9 o'clock Eastern, which is, of course, I have to think a minute. If it's 10 o'clock my time, it's 11 there. So 8 o'clock my time, which is 9 o'clock New York time. It's soberstpatricksday.org. Again, they are found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And, of course, tomorrow you have to go into YouTube to go ahead and watch it once you're registered. Otherwise, as Bill mentioned, go to the website directly at 4 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. I want to say thanks so much again to Bill for his patience. Of course, Bridget O'Brien, without you, I would not have had the opportunity to meet yet again another wonderful client and another project of yours that I can't say. All I can say is I respect you more and more and more as the days go on. I miss you very much. I love you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thanks so much again to my listening audience. I, of course, have to skedaddle because if you watch me, you already know that in 20 minutes I'm now being interviewed on television today. So I unfortunately have to skedaddle and get to my own interview. But I want to remind everybody that I am going, let me just take a look at my schedule real quickly here. The next time you will be able to hear me on the radio, besides going to Facebook and checking it out, which is, again, Sin's Chat Corner, I'm going to be back on air this coming Friday at 1 o'clock where I'm interviewing the guest, or should I say, let me look here. Okay, I apologize. I'm interviewing the founder of The Hero Show at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and that's this coming Friday, March 19th. Again, thanks so much to everybody for listening. You guys have a wonderful evening. Have a safe St. Patrick's Day no matter what you're doing. Spend it with those you love. And we'll talk to you guys on Friday. Take care.